But hey, welcome back to Black Behind the Chair. I am Peppermint Petty,
And I'm Impad.
and we are two Black hairstylists who work on all textures of hair. In cosmetology school, we're taught not to talk about religion, politics, sex, and salaries, but this is what happens when Blackness meets the beauty industry. Please subscribe to our channel. We love respectful discourse, so also leave a comment and like this video. It's a free way to support our growth. Now, we're not necessarily a show about politics. However, as Black women, our existence is often politicized. As a result, we often find ourselves either having political discourse or avoiding it behind the chair. So, Impad, the birthday girl, give us one word to describe your hair.
Natural.
Yes, and we're going to have a guest today that is literally the expert on natural, quote unquote, natural hair. And I can't wait to share space with her and for you to meet her. She's amazing.
I'm excited.
My one word today is neat. I actually, it's neat. It's a little rough around the edges, but it's like, under control.
No, it looks cute.
I had my daughter braid it because I thought I was going to do like some kinky coily clip-ins, and I clipped them in, and they're super cute, but
yeah,
they're also hot, and I'm menopausal, so it was a no for me.
Yeah, I'm wanting to grow out my hair like super long. Like I want to grow it like way down here, and I just know like, whew, in the summertime, I'm gonna be miserable.
Is your hair thick? Do you have a lot of hair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I used to have when I had my long hair, I used to have an undercut. I had an undercut for like years.
Yeah.
And like people didn't even know.
Yeah.
I used to even, when I was really cool, like I used to have all the way like up here.
Yeah.
Shape. And like when all of this was down, you still wouldn't even know.
Yes. Yes. I think every hairstylist can relate to having at least one of those clients. So that gives me a very good idea of how much hair you have on your head.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. We are gonna jump right in. So last night there was a little bit of a panic, but today we are marked safe from the TikTok ban.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that? Because I feel like generationally everybody was on the same page, I think. But what were your thoughts? Are your thoughts?
So I didn't freak out as much as I thought I was going to, which was nice. And honestly, I only clicked the app twice last night, and it was to really see like, is it really gone? Like it wasn't even to be like, oh, let me go watch a TikTok. So that was a little comforting for me because I am someone who is constantly on social media, and so it was nice that I didn't have such withdrawals like some people had. I don't know, because I like to look at technology as a good thing, and I know that it can be like taken advantage of or like taken out of context. So like it kind of worries me that so many people were having withdrawals from it.
Did you see that somebody called 911?
No.
I don't know if it's true, but I just saw it in passing and I'm like, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I think that for me, I am not someone who uses TikTok a lot, but everyone around me uses it a lot. And I have been most recently because I realized that we only need 70 more followers in order to go live on TikTok. So I have been using it more often trying to get our followers up. And so when I clicked on it, honestly, I didn't think they were going to really ban it. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were doing the thing where they're like because Trump introduced the policy in like 2020, right? And then
He
it never
did.
happened. So I just didn't really think they were going to do it. So then I clicked on it last night and it's gone. And I was shocked. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. So assault weapons, fine. Genocide, fine. Student loan debt, fine. TikTok, horrible. Get rid of it right away. It's destroying our country. I was,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also, what struck me was, so I think when I initially took my screenshot and posted it, it said something about like it's been banned, but like we're working with Donald Trump to get it up and running again as soon as possible. Then it seemed like there was a lot of backlash about that. So then they removed Trump's name from it completely and it just said like, we're working on this kind of a thing. But then it came back online and it was basically like, hooray, Trump got us back online. And I just am struck by how shameless the tech bros are at sucking Trump's farts out of his butts already. And he hasn't even gotten in office yet.
Yeah. So I also thought the same thing. And I was like, there's got to be like a term for this. And so I was looking up, like doing my own little research, like leaders that have caused panic or banned things and then like reversed the decision to like
Mm-hmm.
essentially be praised.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you know what I found? So there is a psychological tactic called problem reaction solution.
Mm.
Best part. So then I was like, oh, well, I wonder, like, are there any leaders or, dictators that have used this tactic before? And yes, there has been. Adolf Hitler in
And that,
the Reichstag fire, Joseph Stalin in the purges. Um, and modern examples, Vladimir Putin and the Russian censorship.
and this is why they don't want you to have TikTok.
And I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny to me. I saw like videos of people that had hopped over to Red Note before TikTok was actually banned. And, so they're my understanding is like Red Note is an actual Chinese owned company where TikTok is like kind of Chinese owned, but not fully. Red Note is actually a Chinese owned company, and so people are on there. And this young lady, she's like, yeah, so I'm on there, and she's like, I thought I was gonna get on there, and they would be making fun of Americans because we're fat and like whiny, and we like eat a bunch of junk food. And she goes, but they're actually making fun of us because apparently we live under an oligarchy and we don't even know it. And she's like, and also because we're fat and we only eat junk food. But
yeah.
like,
hmm
basically like,
I I read a comment and someone from China was like, "Why do you guys eat like your healthcare is free?"
mm, damn. Why they do us like that?
And I was like, "Oop, you got us.
Damn.
You got us."
That is crazy. But I definitely did think it was on brand for Trump to like break something and then fix it and take the credit for it. Like that's definitely on brand. I had no idea. What's the term for that called?
Problem reaction solution.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
Literally just that play like a fiddle.
panic creates compliance. People are more likely to accept restrictive policies or changes if they feel their safety, economy, or culture is under threat. Control over solutions. Leaders present themselves as the only ones capable of solving the crisis they partly engineered or exaggerated. shift in perception. When the ban is lifted or the crisis is resolved, it generates gratitude or relief, even if the initial problem was unnecessary or fabricated.
That tracks. That tracks. Good times. Good times. Well, and it coincides with Mark Zuckerberg removing the guardrails from Facebook. And like I guess rebranding himself like as a free speech absolutist now.
So I don't think anything's been confirmed yet, but rumor has it that Meta now owns TikTok.
Wouldn't shock me at all.
But I did have a funny incident happen with a guest the other day because we were talking about this, and he's 35, so only like a few years older than me. And he is always he's very paranoid about China. And it's so interesting because, like, I think he's a smart man. Like, I think, and he's, for a white man, pretty, like, on the right side of history, you know? And so we were talking about it, and he was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad TikTok is banned because China and the data, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I literally looked at him and I was like, TikTok's banned in China, right? And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, even the Chinese don't have TikTok. So,
well, and the other thing, everyone keeps complaining about all of the data that they're stealing with TikTok, but like every app that you get on has a service terms and agreements 5,000 pages long where they're telling you that they're going to take all of your data. That's why you can get on Amazon and shop for something and then get on Facebook and there's an ad for the thing that you just shopped for.
literally.
So, like, what's the difference between Mark Zuckerberg having my data or?
So his whole argument was like, well, yeah, because I literally said the same thing. And so his whole argument was like, well, their government like censors them and spies on them and blah 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 blah. And I was like, we do that here.
I don't know what country he lives in.
Yeah, like.
Hey guys, it's me, Peppermint Petty, one half of the dynamic duo that is Black Behind the Chair. First of all, we want to thank you for spending your Sunday evenings with us. Every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can join us for salon things, politics, current events, news, jokey jokes, and more. We just love this little community that we're building of like-minded people, and we just want to say thanks so much for being here with us. We're trying to hit a goal of 500 subscribers by the spring. So if you could do us a quick favor and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, engaging with our comment by liking, sharing, and commenting allows the algorithm to do what it does. Lastly, if you have something to say to us, anything at all, a question about something in the beauty industry, a topic you'd like us to cover, leave us a voice message at 470-713-5905. You can do that anonymously or leave your social media if you'd like a shout out. And now back to Black Behind the Chair. Wildfires, California wildfires. Do you know anyone that's been affected?
I do not know.
I know plenty of people in California, but no one that's been affected. But it was, again, TikTok coming in. I watched so many TikTok videos of people who were there on the ground who lost their homes. I mean, like literally devastated, lost everything. And I'm just going through TikTok, watching videos. And one of the things that stuck out to me was this billionaire couple, the Resnicks. I'm sure you came across them in your research.
Mm-hmm.
And how they basically own the majority of the water.
60%.
60%. And that what I wrote it down, they they are using, I thought I wrote it down, but they use more water, like actually use more water than like the entire like LA in its entirety combined. These two people and their companies use more water. So people are, the GOP is blaming, DEI, and they're like forming all these conspiracy theories about what might be happening. And meanwhile, it's literally right there. Like it's right there. And then I saw that this couple, they gained control of the water in 1994, like through a bunch of like secret backdoor meetings. So their leadership was sold them out to these two billionaires. And what's lost in all of it is, like I said, that people are literally losing everything.
So we do live in an oligarchy.
So there was the Altadena, which is the historically Black neighborhood that, like many Black people, migrated to during the Great Migration because it was one of the few places that Black people could own property. And so, it's not just financial, it's generational, it's cultural, it's historical, what's been lost. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know that for me, when I repost things, that I make it a point to make it a point to center specifically, of course, Black and Brown people, um, people who are disabled or differently abled, because those are the stories that you never hear. We always think it's all rich people,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how it's being portrayed. But there's all these other people that we don't hear about unless we go looking for those stories. And even thinking about like how close that is to LA, the backbone of the industry is right there. It's your hairstylist, it's your makeup artist, it's your lighting people, your caterers.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are going to be people who are not rich. They're just regular, everyday people just trying to survive. And our government's playing politics with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's I was talking to a friend today because I just needed to talk to someone like-minded, and I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to make people care about others. Like I don't know how I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point where like I can't talk to someone who's not willing to do anything about it because then I get angry. And it's a very hard balance because I feel like there's a lot of people that say they're like about it, but when the time comes, where are you? And we just saw in this election where a lot of people stood. So, like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's gross. It's gross. And, I keep hearing rumors that people are already regretting voting for him. And that's not been my experience at all. Um, the people, the clients that I have who are pro him, like and I think I've said this before, they don't tell me that they voted for him, but through other ways, they let it be known that they voted for him. It's not hard, to know who's very pro Trump and who's not. And they're like excited. They're ready for him to get in office and do all of these amazing things. I don't know what those things could be. I know what he said he was going to do. I know he said that he was going to make it so that police officers weren't held accountable when they shot people in the street. Like, I don't know if that's what they're excited about.
They're excited about concepts of a plan.
Yeah. Um, And then, and so here's the other thing I think about the wildfires that really pissed me off is because we got rich people complaining about having to pay their fair share of taxes because they don't want them to go to like social services and they want the ability to like look down their nose at poor people.
Mhm.
And then when these wildfires happen and they don't have what they need to fight the fires, then they're confused about why there's no money when it's literally you that wanted to defund the government. I don't
Mhm. Mhm.
understand how
And
you
I'm pretty
start.
sure I read that they defunded like the fire departments. I could be mistaken on the numbers, but I want to say it was like 26.6 million and gave it to LAPD. And it's
Mm,
like, or gave, LAPD another fucking raise. And
yeah,
it's like, what are cops going to do with a fire? Shoot it? Like,
yeah.
and
Well,
then the crazy part also about all of this, you have actual fucking prisoners fighting the fires
yeah,
for less than $10 a day. I was reading some even less than that. And it's like,
Matt.
so
Yeah,
you hate poor people, but it's okay for them to help you out when there's a disaster happening.
yeah, poor people. And then, and the kicker is they can go and fight that fire, but when they get out of prison, they can't go and work for the fire department, even though they have
Right,
actual experience fighting
right,
fires.
right,
That's what
right.
really blows me. So yeah, like you're mad about poor people, but you don't have a problem with prisoners going and fighting fires. You're mad about immigrants, but you don't have a problem with Mexico and Canada sending help. Um, this
Yeah,
is our life too. Like this is the last day of any semblance of normal, I think. I don't know.
literal. I don't know. And it just, again, I don't I don't know how anyone can be like shocked or surprised about all of this because I'm like, are you not paying attention? Like, don't get me wrong. I love to disassociate and disconnect as much as the next person, but like I even know. I probably know more than enough. And it bothers me. And
Yeah,
what's even more like wild is I'm like single. So
yeah.
like I feel and no kids. So I feel like if anything, I should be selfish and be I could definitely be like this has no impact on me whatsoever. Like I can do whatever I want. Like it's just me. I don't have to respond to anyone. I'm not taking care of anyone and I'm concerned. So I don't know how people who like have kids or like are married, like you're married to a woman and you don't care that her health rights are always being stripped, like that also impacts you, buddy.
I just feel like this is what people have shown me is that people don't believe it until it happens to them. I just watched a video the other day and it was this woman, it was a couple who the woman was pregnant, her water had broken and they're on their way to the hospital. Her husband's speeding to get her to the emergency room because she's about to give birth. And they get pulled over and the officer drags the husband out of the car and like has him face down and she's like, no, like literally look at me, I'm giving birth, like my pants are wet, my water broke, like well, what are you doing? And the
Mhm.
police didn't give a shit, and I think he ended up getting arrested and it was a mess, and this was a white couple, and I'm watching it and I'm feeling bad for her because that's awful to have to go through that, and I'm wondering if she was one of the people that was online saying, well, if you just complied, there wouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, um, I not that I don't have empathy, but also like we gotta start everyone has to be talking. And at this point, if you're not talking louder than like all of the black women specifically, then like don't talk to me.
Literally.
Don't
I
do
just
it.
kinda said on my Facebook, unfortunately, with Nelly and Snoop Dogg going to be there tomorrow, I was seeing a lot of white people talk about that. And I made a status. I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I was like, white people, you don't get to be upset about Snoop and Nelly being there when your fucking Peepaw and your Aunt Karen and your insurrectionist cousin all voted for Trump. And you didn't say nothing when you went to Christmas, Thanksgiving,
Right.
whatever.
Now you're
So
mad.
don't say anything about Nelly and Snoop.
Right before we logged on tonight, I saw a video of Snoop that was allegedly because the festivities have already started. They're already doing the things. So I saw it was video of Snoop. He was DJing for himself. So that makes me wonder if his DJ told him to go F himself. Because he was
Mhm.
DJing for himself. And he's like, I forget what song he was doing, but whoever was taking the video panned the crowd. It's a room full of white men. And Snoop is singing his song chock full of N words, unedited N words. And I'm like, you are really performing at a Klan rally right now, shouting the N word. Like, what alternate reality am I even in right now?
I'm just going to let it be known right now to any white person watching, if you say the N word around me, I'm punching you in the mouth.
Period.
So do that with what you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, period. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't even really take an N word for me. You don't even have to get like, I definitely will have blacked out by then. But my fuse is even much shorter. Like it don't take much.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But like,
So
just know as
yeah,
soon as that
but
word, like,
that is an automatic.
you weren't getting violent before, just know that if that word comes out, it's violence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So before we move on to the inauguration, since we hopped on Snoop and all of that, um, I do want to just tie up the wildfire conversation just as a reminder that it's not just rich people. There's a lot of vulnerable and historically targeted folks that have been devastated. And specifically, Black people um, have lost homes that have been in their families since the Great Migration. Did you see the story of Rodney Nickerson, 82 years old, and he migrated and bought this home. And when they got the evacuation order, his family was trying to get him to leave, and he was just like, "I'm not leaving. I'm staying here." And then they found him in his bed. That just
Mhm.
broke me.
And there was another um older gentleman that his son was disabled
Mm,
and they couldn't get him out, and so he stayed with him.
that's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
And that's another
And
thing
I
too,
mean,
like, I
I
don't
just
think a lot
if
of
you
people.
can't find any feelings for that, you're not human.
Hey, I see you scrolling for a new podcast to follow, and let me recommend you one. I'm Impad, one of your co hosts for Black Behind the Chair. And imagine this salon gossip so juicy it feels like you're actually in the chair, with pop culture takes that actually make a little sense. And a sprinkle of politics because I know being a black, queer, fat woman in America is always up for discussion. So, what are you waiting for? Hit play on Black Behind the Chair and join the conversation. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
Okay, so let's talk about Inauguration Day because that's happening tomorrow. And all of social media, especially Twitter, because Twitter is mostly like right-wing lunatics now, are like all up in arms because Michelle Obama's not attending and like what else could she possibly have better to do? And so much so that there's even rumors now that Michelle and Barack are separated and divorcing. And I'm not saying that that can't be true because anything's possible. Um, but they're like, their kids don't even spend time with them. Like, you don't know what their kids are doing. You don't
Yeah.
know like what's going on. And I'm not saying it can't be true, but what I am saying is just because Michelle Obama, who's been disrespected repeatedly by the Trumps, doesn't want to go to his funky little inauguration, does not mean that they're getting divorced. That's all I'm saying. Like, I think that Michelle Obama got the memo that Black women are taking the year off and she's staying home where she's appreciated and she has peace.
Yeah. And also, like, Sasha and Malia are grown adults.
Hmm.
Like, why do they need to constantly be hanging out with their parents?
Yeah. Yeah. Like who at that age wanted to constantly be hanging out with their parents? And then imagine your parents, one of your parents being like the probably most beloved and most hated leader of the free world of all time,
Right.
you know. Um, but now, plot twist, because there was that moment. Oh no, that wasn't the inauguration. That was at Jimmy Carter's funeral when again Michelle was conspicuously absent, which good for her because she would have had to sit next to Trump, who I've heard smells really bad. And she probably was just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stay home. But there was that moment between Barack Obama and Donald Trump where they were chatting, and Barack Obama was kind of, giggling and smiling. Um, and now, in a plot twist, all of a sudden, Donald Trump has said that he thinks he might kind of like Obama.
I I may get a lot of hate for this. And I will say, like, I'm only 30, so realistically, I've only voted in a handful of elections. And I will say, like, do I think Obama is the worst president? No. But Obama also has flaws. And I've been trying to tell people, like, and this is just my own opinion, but like, Democrats are not going to save us. And so, going back to the election with Kamala, like, Democrats say that they're on your side and that they speak for you, but they really don't. They don't. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. They don't. Like, if I was just talking to someone about this the other day, I was like, there have been numerous times where Democrats held the power. Obama was in office, they had the House and the Senate. And, like, sure, did some things happen? Yeah. But, like, more progress could have happened. And a lot of stuff isn't going to happen as long as gerrymandering is allowed, lobbying is allowed, and the filibuster is around. And time
The
and time and
Electoral
time
College.
again. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I don't know how much more, like, I can tell Democrats, like, hey, these are the actual issues that we should be, like, focused on if we want to make real change. But guess what? If we do that, they also lose profit. Like, and that's what it all boils down to. And it just got me thinking, like, I don't know how it's legal for a $1 billion company, business, person, whoever, to pay people to go to Washington, D.C. and basically deny something that would benefit me because they will be impacted. Like, how is that legal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Well,
technically it's freedom of speech.
I was going to say, I think like technically it's not legal, but like there's loopholes because rich and powerful.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff has to change on a systematic level, and no one wants to do that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
and you're literally a child of Ferguson, where what was my favorite chant that came out of Ferguson was what was it? Something, something, something. But at the end, it was like, put that killer cop in jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. And I was like, yes, we're getting
yeah,
it. I felt so hopeful because I had been screaming from rooftops for years before that. And so I felt so hopeful, and especially with that chant. And now it's just like so much has happened since then that it just constantly feels like we have to we're just still going over the same thing and not like able to progress beyond that because we have such short attention spans, and trying to share that message and educate when you're up against a crooked, corrupt system who obviously has no problem. What was the thing, the um trope that you just gave us earlier about like
oh,
what they just did with TikTok?
yes,
Like they don't have any problem like creating a problem so that they can distract us and then fix the problem, but now we've forgotten about the thing that
yes.
we were mad about because we're just happy that this fake problem is fixed now. I often
Problem,
ask the problem in
solution.
that part. And I often find myself questioning, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to it, but I often find myself questioning whether or not we can vote our way out of this. And quite frankly, we didn't vote our way into it. So,
That part. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of my own, I feel like, I guess, side quest because I'm trying not to panic, but like low key panicking
mhm,
because we are really headed towards fascism. And again, like, I don't know what more I could do to like say like, hey,
mhm,
it's literally that bad. It's
mhm,
literally that bad. It's
mhm,
like, and prime example, like there was an article I read and it talked about how the 1918 influenza, like after that pandemic, we had Hitler, and like he used all the shit that we saw with 2020 and the COVID pandemic, like Trump calling it the Chinese virus and saying how, foreigners are bringing disease and like we have to make America great again. Like that, literally, Hitler did that.
mhm,
And then, like, that's just step one. And now, what we saw last night with the problem, reaction, solution, like Hitler literally did that.
mhm.
He did that.
Yeah.
And also, um, people are already saying like ICE is getting ready to do like a massive raid.
Which
And
is
so
terrifying. That's terrifying.
terrifying. And what a coincidence that like with this TikTok ban, and maybe I'm getting a little conspiracy, but what a coincidence that all of this is like happening right around the election, to where, yeah, he caused this massive panic of like, we need to get rid of TikTok because security breach of immigrants and blah, 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 all this bullshit. And then fast forward to, well, maybe it's not so bad, but it was up to the Biden administrative, or and so a lot of people think that like Biden is the reason why TikTok got banned. And not to say that Biden wasn't complicit, because he is. He
He
signed
signed the
it.
paper.
He
Yeah.
signed the paper. So like Biden is also complicit in this, but Trump was the one who started it.
Yeah.
And so then to fast forward that, oh, well, Trump's going to be the one to save it. And now that everyone panicked because they thought they were going to get rid of TikTok, to now like, oh, thankfully, like I can go back to scrolling and, using TikTok as a distraction. And low key, Meta probably bought TikTok. So who knows how the algorithm and what's going to be able to post, especially now with Trump going into office and rumors of ICE raids happening. What are we going to miss now because of it?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I just don't know. Again, I don't know how people, we're just literally, history is repeating itself. That's all I can say. And unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
That part.